What's up, Magic players? It's Doyle, your host here on DoylePrimeMTG, where I bring you the latest and greatest in Magic content that I can while still trying to have a life. Today, I'd like to share for you my love for rats. Not necessarily the animal, but the creature type. The rat colony effect is just really fun for me, and the commander that I chose to lead these furry friends is none other than Greven, Predator Captain.
Forests, islands, mountains, plains, and swamps. The multiverse is all that is, or ever was, or ever will be. There is a tingling in the spine, a faint sensation, as if a distant memory, of walking from plane to plane. Our lives have been forever changed, as if by magic. Embark with me on this journey to eternity. Experience the true power of mind over matter as we ignite your spark and traverse into the magic multiverse.
So I chose Greven in the command zone for two reasons. One, he's a great draw engine in these colors. And two, imagining this crazy looking dude fumbling around a withered version of the Weatherlight, obsessed with eating the numerous rats whose colonies have infested and destroyed most of the ship, is quite frankly hilarious. Greven Predator Captain is a legendary 5/5 human, I beg to differ, warrior creature with menace that gets +X+0, where X is the amount of life that we've lost that turn. The key ability here is whenever Greven attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw cards equal to its power, and you lose life equal to its toughness. The dude is literally eating creatures for power, and in our case, rat creatures. This means that our rat colonies are going to be drawing us a bunch of cards each turn, but not losing us too much life. Also, that our Greven will have to swing a lot, so we're going to want to protect Greven as much as possible and get him through for some good old Voltron damage. Since Greven is 5 CMC, let's take a look at the ramp package that will help us unleash our furious beast that I refuse to believe is human. I mean, just look at him. We will ramp using artifacts, as it is one of the only reliable choices in these colors. Soul Ring, Wayfarer's Bauble, Fractured Power Stone, and Thought Vessel, along with Arcane Signet, Rakdos Signet, Talisman of Indulgence, and Helm of Awakening, will all make up our artifact ramp suite. We will also ramp it with a couple lands, using Myriad Landscape, Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, and Cabal Coffers. As for card draw, much of this work is done by Greven, but let's look at some of those cards that can help him carry the team. Skull Clamp, Key to the City, Castle Lochthwain, and Bolas's Citadel will each help us to gain card advantage outside of sacrifice. Feldon the Third Path can assist us with advantage as well, paying 2 red and tapping him to make a token copy of a creature in our graveyard until end of turn. This can be a massive boon, giving us back key pieces repeatedly, and we can even sacrifice those pieces to Greven. Similarly, Whip of Erebos can recur our creatures temporarily, but will exile them afterwards. This is best used on extra copies of Rat Colony. Also, the universal lifelink doesn't hurt. All in all, once we get Greven out and swinging, he will typically draw us enough cards to keep up the pressure. I've included a few haste enablers that are hard to deal with, like Anger, Hall of the Bandit Lord, Flamekin Village, and Hanwar Battlements. Each of these will allow us to give Greven haste, making him a guaranteed draw engine. As the primary sacrifice target, I've included 26 copies of Rat Colony. These little dudes are cheap and can easily draw us large amounts of cards without hurting us all that much. Greven will be a bit less threatening since we're not losing a whole bunch of life, until we pull out all of our removal pieces. The most flavorful of our removal, and I mean that literally because I'm still pretty sure Greven eats people, is the borrow and sacrifice mechanic. I call it that because you usually gain control for a single turn and then give the creature back, but Greven has different plans. Captivating Crew, Zealous Conscripts, and Kari Zev's Expertise will each attempt to feed our opposing creatures to our insatiable captain. Moving on to our control section, we will see what kind of wrenches that we can throw into our opponent's plans. Pyroblast and Imp's Mischief will each protect us from counterspells and specific types of removal. Fire Covenant is an amazing board wipe that also pumps up our commander. Adding keywords to Greven is often devastating. That's why Basilisk Collar and Shadow Spear make blocking this menace quite difficult. Though none makes it more difficult to block him than Vorak Battlehorns, making him unable to be blocked by more than one creature, combos with his menace ability to make him fully unblockable. Filth is also a key creature in this deck. In conjunction with Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, this combo lets us attack with any creatures, all unblocked. Next, we got two more board wipes, with Vandal Blast and Toxic Deluge. Ridding the board of threats should make our plans rather unstoppable. Remember those two cards that benefit us from our graveyard? Filth and Anger? Well, Buried Alive is a great way to start that engine early. Speaking of putting things into the grave, Grave Pact and Dictate of Erebos will create edict effects for all of our opponents at least once per turn cycle, and it'll prevent them from wanting to kill many of our creatures. Volrath's Stronghold will also allow us to reuse our creature cards by placing them from our graveyard on top of our library. We can even skimp on the activation cost with Mortuary, placing any of our creatures on top of our library right when they die. Next, we have 3 lands that make Greven harder to block, with Shizo Death's Storehouse, Shinka the Bloodsoaked Keep, and Rogue's Passage, giving him Fear or First Strike respectively, or straight up the ability to be unblocked. Closing out the game will be rather straightforward. We will kill with Greven, or we will overwhelm with rats. Let's check out the alternate ways that we can generate an army of rats to overrun our opponents. Mad Ratter creates 2 rat tokens whenever we draw our second card each turn. Piper of the Swarm creates rat tokens. Pack Rat has power and toughness equal to the total number of rats we control. And it can also make a token copy of itself for 2 and a black and discarding a card. Ogre Slumlord will create rat tokens whenever a non-token creature dies, as well as giving all of our rats Death Touch. Also, Marrow-Gnawer can help tap and sacrifice a rat to create X rat tokens, where X is the number of rats that we control. This is almost a Krenko for rats. Since we are running so many non-basic lands, I've also included a Field of the Dead to help us generate some blocking creatures. Finally, a few combat tricks to cause Greven to become so much more deadly, with Soul's Fire, Unleash Fury, and Tainted Strike. Each of these can cause an exorbitant amount of damage to come out of nowhere and turn an assumed tactical hit into a death stroke. We will run as many color-fixing lands as we can, and some basics to top us off. Blood Crypt, Dragon Skull Summit, Luxury Suite, Rakdos Carnarium, Sulphurous Springs, and Tainted Peak will each help fix our colors, while we run 9 swamps and 6 mountains. That about wraps it up for this deck tech. I hope you enjoyed the video. You'll find the link to the full deck list on arcadeck.com in the description, complete with a maybe board. Let me know in the comments below if you would take this deck in a different direction, or if there are any key includes that I missed. Cheers, and happy casting. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit that like button, and also share it with your friends. If you want to see more videos like these, or hear me ramble about how to navigate this magic multiverse, go ahead and click that subscribe button to stay up to date on the latest from me, Doyle Prime, and the happenings throughout Magic the Gathering. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you all next video.